You can replace this text with I still remember that morning, a quiet, cold morning, when the sunlight barely touched my window, the kind of morning that feels calm, but heavied. I was standing in my kitchen, staring at the garden through the window. The fog had covered everything, even the flowers looked lost in it, and then, my phone rang. I looked at the screen. It was my daughter, Lena. My heart skipped a beat. She hadn't called in weeks. So I smiled instantly, thinking maybe she missed me. Hello, sweetheart, I said softly, but her voice, it didn't sound the same. Mom, she said, with a strange pause, there's something I need to tell you. I felt something shift inside me. I could hear her breathing, nervous, distant. I said, of course, honey, what is it? Then came the words that still echo inside my chest. Mom, I've decided to call someone else Mom. Soft dramatic pause, music shifts slightly. For a moment, I forgot how to breathe. Everything froze. Her voice faded into silence, and my world fell apart. Lena, I whispered, barely holding my voice together. Why would you say that? She sighed and then said, you were never there for me, Mom. You were always busy. Always working. She was there for me. She listened. She cared. She's like the mother I always wanted. Heartbeat sound, faint music continues. I couldn't reply. My throat closed up. Every word I wanted to say just died inside me. All those years, all those nights I stayed awake, working overtime just to pay her school fees, skipping my meals so she could have enough. Every sacrifice suddenly meant nothing. She said, I have to go now. And then, she hung up. Soft silence, faint wind sound effect. I stood there, phone still in my hand. The tea on the stove had gone cold, and in that moment, it felt like my life had too. That evening, I made a cup of tea for myself, just one cup. I placed it on the table, across from the empty chair where she used to sit. I looked at the steam rising, and all I could think about were the words. I'd decided to call someone else Mom. I didn't cry, not yet, but something deep inside me broke. Later that night, I went into her old room. It still smelled like her perfume, that sweet vanilla scent she always wore. Her books were still on the shelf, her photo smiling back at me from the wall. I touched one of the frames, a picture from her 5th birthday. She was wearing a pink dress, cake on her cheeks, and she was laughing, saying, Mom, you're the best. And I whispered back to that photo, when did I stop being the best? Days passed, then weeks. No call, no message, no visit, until one afternoon. I saw her post on social media. She was smiling, standing next to another woman. Her caption said, family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's who shows up. I stared at that picture for so long, I didn't even realize my tears had started falling. That woman, her new mother, was holding her hand. They looked happy, complete, and I realized something I never wanted to admit. I had lost my daughter, not because she stopped loving me, but because I stopped being present. I used to tell myself, I'm doing all this for her, the long hours, the stress, the struggle. But maybe what she needed wasn't money. Maybe she just needed me, someone to listen, someone to sit beside her when she cried, someone to show up, and I didn't. Soft piano starts playing. That night, I sat by the same kitchen window again. The fog had returned. It looked exactly like the morning she called me, and I whispered to myself, if she ever comes back, I'll never let her feel alone again. After that night, everything inside me changed. For the first time in years, I stopped running, stopped chasing work, deadlines, and expectations. I just sat there, in silence. Sometimes silence is louder than words, and that silence told me something I had been ignoring for too long. It said, you lost her, because you forgot to listen. Days turned into weeks, and every morning I woke up hoping for her message, but my phone stayed silent, like a graveyard of memories. I tried calling her once, she didn't pick up. The second time, her number went straight to voicemail. I left a message, my voice trembling. Lena, it's Mom. I just wanted to say I love you. That's all. And then I hung up, knowing she might never hear it, or maybe she just didn't want to. One evening, I was walking back from the grocery store. The sky was painted with orange and purple, the kind of sunset Lena used to love. I stopped at the park near our old house, and I saw a mother pushing her little girl on the swing. The girl laughed so hard, and the mother said, hold tight, baby, I've got you. And that's when it hit me. I used to say those exact words to Lena, hold tight, baby, I've got you. But somewhere along the way, I stopped holding on. That night, I took out an old photo album, pages full of smiles, birthdays, school days, small victories. I flipped through them slowly, like rewinding time, and for the first time, I didn't cry. I smiled, because I realized something. Love doesn't end when someone leaves. It stays quietly, waiting for a chance to be felt again. So, I made a decision. A quiet, powerful decision. If Lena wouldn't come to me, I would go find her, not to force her to love me again, but to show her that I still do. Soft strings rise in background. The next morning, I packed a small bag. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. I just followed my heart, and a faint memory of where she lived, her new address. I found it online. The simple apartment in a nearby city. I took the first bus there, a 2-hour ride filled with memories and feared. I rehearsed what I would say, over and over again. I'm sorry, Lena. I know I wasn't perfect, but I never stopped loving you. When the bus stopped, my hands were shaking. I walked slowly to her building. Every step felt heavier than the last, and then I saw her. She was walking out of the building with that woman, her new mother. They were laughing together, sharing a small umbrella under the rain. I froze. My heart broke all over again. I could have called her name, but I didn't. I just stood there, watching her walk away, happy, peaceful, safe. And for a moment, I realized, maybe that's enough. Maybe a mother's love doesn't always mean being seen. Sometimes it just means being there, quietly, in the background, loving from a distance. I turned around and started walking back to the bus station. The rain had stopped, but my tears hadn't. Still, there was something different this time, a strange peace inside me, because I had done what I came toward. I had seen her, alive, smiling, cared for, even if it wasn't by me. When I got home, I made myself a cup of tea again, the same old cup, and this time, I whispered to it, she's happy. That's all that matters. And for the first time in months, I actually meant it. Soft emotional piano music swells, but destiny wasn't done with me yet, because 2 weeks later, I heard a knock at my door. When I opened it, I couldn't believe who was standing there. Lena, soaked from the rain, eyes red from crying. Mom, she whispered, and then she broke down in my arms. I didn't ask why she came. I didn't say anything. I just held her, tighter than ever before, because that's what mothers do. We hold on, even when we've already been let go. That night, when Lena came back, it felt like the world had stopped just for us. The rain outside whispered softly against the windows, and she sat on the same couch where she once learned to walk. So much time had passed, and yet, in that moment, she was my little girl again. I poured her a cup of tea, the way she liked it. 1 spoon of sugar, a touch of milk. She held it carefully, her hands trembling. Neither of us spoke for a while. It was the kind of silence that carries 1,000 emotions: guilt, pain, love, confusion. Finally, she broke it. Mom, I'm sorry. My eyes filled instantly. Those 3 words, I had dreamed of hearing them, but now that they were here, I didn't even know how to respond. I whispered, no, sweetheart, you don't have to be sorry. I should be the one apologizing. She shook her head, her voice cracked as she said, no, Mom. I said terrible things to you. I didn't mean them. I was just angry. I thought you didn't care. I reached across the table and held her hand. It was cold, like the rain outside. Lena, I always cared. I just didn't know how to show it. I thought working hard for you was love. But maybe love is something simpler. She looked up at me, her eyes shining with tears. All I ever wanted was time with you. Soft emotional piano continues, slightly rising. Her words pierced my heart because they were true. When she was little, I was always running, from job to job, shift to shift, trying to make ends meet, trying to give her everything I never had, but in the process, I forgot that what she needed most was me. I told her, you know, I thought success meant giving you a better life, but I realize now, a better life isn't about money, it's about memories. She smiled faintly, wiping her eyes. You were always strong, Mom. I just didn't understand your way of loving me. We sat there, both crying softly, but this time, the tears were healing. Later that night, we moved to the living room. I pulled out the old photo album, the one I had looked through so many lonely nights. We flipped through the pages together. Every picture told a story. The school play, her first day of college, our small birthdays. We laughed through our tears, and then she pointed at one photo, me holding her as a baby. She whispered, "You look so happy here." I smiled, because I was holding my entire world. She leaned against my shoulder, and in that quiet moment, the distance of years simply disappeared. Soft strings enter, emotional rise. Around midnight, she told me the truth. She said the woman she'd been calling mom had helped her during her darkest days. When she was alone, confused, lost, she was kind to me, Mom. She never replaced you, but she helped me when I felt like you were gone. I nodded slowly. There was no anger in me, just understanding. Then I owe her my thanks, I said softly, because she helped you when I couldn't. Lena looked surprised. You're not mad? No, my love. A true mother doesn't compete for love. She's grateful that her child found care when she needed it. She hugged me tightly, crying against my chest. I missed you so much, Mom. And I whispered, I never stopped waiting for you. Music softens, piano solo continues. That night, she fell asleep on the couch. I covered her with a blanket and I sat beside her, just watching her breathe. Her face looked peaceful, the same peaceful face I used to watch when she was a baby. I stayed awake till sunrise. The first light of morning touched her face and I realized, this was our second chance. A chance to rebuild, to forgive, to love, without fear. When she woke up, she smiled. Good morning, Mom, she said. Simple words, but they felt like sunlight on my soul, and in that one moment I knew the door I never closed had finally opened again. The next morning felt different. There was no heaviness in the air, no bitterness, no regret, just the smell of coffee, the sound of birds outside, and the quiet presence of my daughter sitting at the kitchen table. For the first time in years, we were just mother and daughter. No accusations. No walls. I poured her coffee and smiled. She looked at me, hesitated, then said softly, it feels strange being here again, Mom. Familiar, but strange. I nodded. That's how healing starts. It always feels strange at first, like trying to walk again after a long fall. We both smiled, and in that smile, there was something fragile but real, forgiveness beginning to take root. The music shifts gently, soft strings join in. We spent the day together, cooking, cleaning, laughing about small things. Things that once seemed meaningless now felt sacred. When she washed the dishes, I teased her, you never used to help me in the kitchen. She laughed, maybe I was waiting to grow up first. It was such a simple exchange, but to me, it felt like reclaiming lost years that had slipped away in silence and misunderstanding. That afternoon, she asked me if we could go out for a walk, the same park where I used to take her when she was little. We walked slowly, side by side. Leaves fell gently from the trees, the kind of autumn beauty that reminds you, everything ends, and yet everything begins again. At one point, she stopped walking. She looked at me with those familiar eyes, full of questions. Mom, do you forgive me? I took a deep breath. Forgiveness, such a heavy word. It doesn't come easy. It's not just saying it's okay. It's letting go of years of pain. I looked at her and said, Lena, forgiveness isn't something you ask for once. It's something you earn, every day, by being different. She nodded slowly. Then I'll earn it, Mom. However long it takes. Soft emotional swell, piano and strings blend. When we got back home, there was a letter in the mailbox from Max.my. Hands trembled slightly as I opened it. I hadn't heard from him since that night, the night he stood in my living room with anger in his eyes. The letter was short. He wrote, Mom, I heard Lena came back. I'm glad you two are talking again. I know I made mistakes too. I just don't know how to fix things yet. Please don't hate me. Tears filled my eyes before I finished reading. I sat down at the table and whispered, I could never hate you, my son. But I didn't reply to the letter, not yet, because sometimes silence is needed before forgiveness can bloom. That evening, Lena noticed the envelope on the table. Did he write to you? She asked quietly. I nodded yes. And maybe, one day he'll come too. She sighed. I hope he does. He misses you, Mom. He just doesn't know how to say it. I smiled faintly. He'll learn. Just like you did. Music fades softer, introspective piano melody. Later that night, I found Lena in the living room looking through old family albums again. There was one picture of Max holding her hand as kids, both laughing at something silly. She traced the photo gently with her fingers. We were happy then, she whispered. And you can be happy again, I said, but you have to promise me something. She looked at me. What is it? That no matter what happens between you and your brother, you'll always remember this. Family doesn't break when it bends. It only breaks when it refuses to bend. Her eyes filled again. I promise. Music swells with warmth, representing healing. Before going to bed, she hugged me. A long, tight hug, the kind that carries years of unsaid words. Good night, Mom. Good night, my love. When she went to her room, I stood by the window for a long time, looking at the stars, and for the first time in so many years, I didn't feel alone, because even if the road to forgiveness is long, we had taken the first step, and that first step is everything. 3 days passed, the house felt warmer now, laughter in the kitchen, quiet music in the evenings, a kind of peace I hadn't felt in years, but deep inside, I knew this peace was incomplete. There was still one missing voice, one missing heartbeat. Max. That morning, as I watered the garden, I heard footsteps on the gravel path. When I turned around, I froze. It was him. Max's face was tired, his eyes red from sleepless nights, but his presence, familiar, heavy, and filled with emotion. He stopped a few feet away and whispered, "Hi, Mom." For a second, my heart forgot how to beat. Then I smiled, gently, carefully. "Hi, Max." We stood in silence for what felt like forever. The wind carried between us everything we hadn't said for years. Music swells softly, strings join in. I invited him inside, the same living room, the same memories. He looked around, almost shy. "It hasn't changed," he said. "No," I replied, "only the people have." Then Lena appeared at the doorway. The air froze again, her eyes widened. "Max?" He turned, uncertain. "Hey, sis." For a moment, neither of them moved. Then, slowly, Lena walked toward him. Tears gathered in her eyes, but her voice was steady. "I wasn't sure you'd ever come." "I wasn't sure I could," he answered softly, and then, they hugged. Not the perfect, happy ending kind of hug, but a fragile, trembling one, the kind that says I missed you without words. Music warms, a hopeful cello joins the piano. The three of us sat together for the first time in years. No shouting. No walls, just honesty. Max took a deep breath. "Mom, I blamed you for everything after Dad left. I thought keeping distance would make me stronger, but it only made me lonelier." I reached out, touched his hand. "You were hurt, Max. I understand." He shook his head. "But you still waited. You still kept the door open." "Why?" I smiled softly. "Because that's what mothers do. Even when the door stays closed for years, we keep standing behind it, waiting for a knock." His eyes filled. Then, "Thank you for not closing it forever." The music grows gentle again, soft piano and harp. We spent that afternoon in the garden replanting the flowers that had dried up years ago. It felt symbolic, turning the soil, starting over, giving life another chance. Lena laughed as Max teased her about her cooking. I just watched them, my children, together again, rebuilding what time had broken. The sun began to set, painting the sky gold and crimson. Max looked at the horizon and whispered, "It's beautiful, isn't it?" I nodded, "Yes. Because this time, we're here to see it together." That night, after dinner, we sat by the fire. Lena handed Max the old family album. He turned the pages slowly, their childhood smiles staring back at him. "We lost so many years," he said quietly. "Years don't matter," I replied. "What matters is that we found our way back." Soft lullaby-like piano begins, signaling closure. Before going to bed, Max came to my room. "Mom," he said, "I'm sorry." I smiled through tears. "You already said that in your letter." "No," he shook his head, "I need to say it while you can hear my voice." He knelt beside me, and for the first time since he was a boy, he let me hold him. "You don't have to be perfect, Max," I whispered, "just be present." He nodded, resting his head on my shoulder, and I knew, truly knew, that my family was whole again. Music swells, warm and bright. When I finally went to bed that night, I whispered a small prayer, not for things to stay perfect, but for us to never stop trying, because love, real love, is not about being unbroken. It's about learning to grow in the cracks. The next morning, I woke up to something I hadn't felt in years, silence that felt peaceful. No shouting, no slammed doors, no loneliness echoing down the hallway, just peace. Max was in the kitchen making coffee. Lena was sitting by the window, sunlight on her face, humming softly. For a moment, I just stood there, watching them, my grown children, the same souls who once filled this house with laughter and tears. It felt like time had paused. Just for us, music swells gently, soft piano and cello. As we sat for breakfast, Max looked thoughtful. "Mom," he said, "I was thinking about staying here for a while. Maybe fix the old garage, repaint the porch. Lena smiled. So, you're finally becoming the handyman Dad always wanted you to be? They both laughed. It was a simple sound, but to me, it was everything. I nodded. Stay as long as you want, Max. This house has enough room for all of us. But even as I said it, a quiet fear tugged at me, because every time peace had come to my life before, something always came to test it. Music softens, a faint melancholic violin joins. Later that day, I found a letter in the mailbox. It was from Daniel, my ex-husband. I hadn't seen his handwriting in over 15 years. The sight of it made my hands tremble. I opened it slowly. Renata, it read, I heard Max came back. I don't deserve to ask this, but I would like to see both of them, just once. I stared at those words for a long time. All the old memories came flooding back. The arguments, the betrayal, the nights of crying quietly so the children wouldn't hear, and yet, my heart wasn't angry anymore. It was tired. But open. That evening, I told Max and Lena about the letter. Lena's reaction was immediate. No. He left us, Mom. He doesn't get to just show up now. Max was quiet. Maybe he just wants to apologize, he said. People change. Lena turned to him sharply. Like you did? Max froze, hurt flickering in his eyes. She realized what she'd said, but it was too late. Silence filled the room again, that same heavy silence that once tore us apart. Music grows emotional, a slow, haunting piano melody. I took a deep breath. Enough, I said softly. We have spent too many years breaking apart. If there's even a small chance for healing, we take it. Lena looked at me, tears glistening. Mom, aren't you afraid he'll hurt us again? I smiled sadly. Yes. But pain can't hurt you the same way twice if you've already forgiven it. The next afternoon, Daniel arrived. The same man who once walked out the door, now stood at it again, older, slower, carrying a bouquet of wildflowers. When I opened the door, he looked at me with eyes full of guilt. You still keep the garden alive, he said softly. It's the only thing I knew how to keep, I replied. Soft strings and piano accompany this scene, emotional but quiet. Lena refused to come out of her room. Max stayed, standing between us, unsure what to do. Daniel sighed. You don't have to forgive me, Renata. I just needed to say sorry, to you, and to them. I nodded. Then say it. He swallowed hard. I left because I thought I could escape my failures, but all I did was abandon my family. Every day since, I've wished I could go back. His voice broke. Max's eyes filled with tears. Then, footsteps. Lena, she stood at the edge of the living room, arms crossed. You don't get to cry, she said coldly. You made us learn how to survive without you. Daniel nodded. You're right. I just wanted you to know. I never stopped loving you. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then Lena whispered, almost to herself, then why didn't you stay? The music becomes soft again, a note of sorrow and peace blending together. He didn't answer. He just placed the flowers on the table and turned to leave. As he reached the door, I called out, Daniel. He stopped. You said you wanted to see your children one last time. He turned around, surprised. Come tomorrow, I said. If they want to see you, they will. That night, I couldn't sleep. The house was quiet again, but this time, not emptied. I sat by the window, watching the moonlight spill across the floor. Sometimes, I think life gives us second chances, not to erase the past, but to prove that love can exist even after it. Tomorrow would decide whether this house, our house, would finally become a place of healing. The morning came heavy with silence. Even the birds outside seemed hesitant to sing. It was the day Daniel was coming back, the day the past would knock on our door again. I stood by the window, watching the driveway. Lena hadn't spoken much since last night. Max had gone out early, said he needed air, but I knew he was struggling too. It wasn't easy, opening old wounds, especially the ones you spent half your life trying to forget. Music swells faintly, slow emotional cello enters. By afternoon, a car stopped outside. Daniel stepped out, holding nothing this time. No flowers, no gifts, only his hands trembling at his sides. Lena was sitting on the couch, her jaw tight. Max stood near the door, silent, and I tried to steady my breath. When Daniel entered, he looked around the house. Everything was the same, yet different. Our family photos, the scent of coffee, and the faint echo of the life he'd left behind. Thank you for letting me come, he said quietly. I nodded. You came to speak. So speak. Soft background piano with echoing reverb, emotion builds slowly. He looked first at Lena. I don't expect forgiveness. I just need you to know the truth. Lena crossed her arms. You left. What truth could make that better? He sighed deeply. When I left, I didn't leave because of you, or your mother. I left because I thought I was protecting you. Max frowned. Protecting us from what? Daniel hesitated, then sat down. I was drowning in debt. I had made mistakes, people were after me, and I thought if I disappeared, you'd be safe. Lena shook her head in disbelief. You disappeared for 15 years. You call that protection? I call it cowardice, Daniel whispered, and I've lived with it every single day. Music softens, heartfelt piano and violin duet. He reached into his pocket and pulled out an old photograph, a picture of Max and Lena as children, sitting on my lap in the garden. This, he said, voice trembling, was the only photo I kept with me. Every time life pushed me down, I looked at it, and wondered if you'd ever forgive me. Max's eyes filled. Lena turned away, trying to hide her tears. I felt my chest tighten, because for the first time I wasn't looking at the man who broke us, I was looking at the man who had already broken himself. The music slows, soft strings fading in and out. I walked to him quietly. Daniel, I said, you can't fix what's gone, but maybe you can help us heal what's left. He nodded, eyes wet. If you'll let me. Lena's voice cracked. Do you even know how much we hated you? Every day, he whispered, and every day, I deserved it. The silence that followed wasn't cold anymore. It was heavy, yes, but full of something real, understanding. The piano brightened slightly, hope seeps through the melody. Later that evening, we sat together on the porch. The sunset was deep orange, spilling warmth across the wooden floor. No one spoke for a long time. Finally, Max said quietly, maybe forgiveness isn't a single moment. Maybe it's something you rebuild, one honest word at a time. Daniel smiled weakly. If that's true, then I'll spend the rest of my life earning it. Lena wiped her eyes. Don't promise things you can't keep. Then I will promise, Daniel said softly. I'll just stay. Music grows tender, soft orchestral build, warm and nostalgic. When the sun dipped below the trees, I realized something. Our house had always been full of echoes, of what was lost, but that night, for the first time in years, it was filled with breathing, and life. No shouting, no blame, just four people sitting quietly watching the world turn gold. Soft fade, piano becomes minimal, ambient. Before going inside, Daniel turned to me. Renata, after everything, why did you even open the door again? I looked at him, smiled faintly, because doors are meant to be opened, not to trap, but to let light in. He nodded slowly, and for a brief second, the years between us disappeared. Music fades to silence, end of the scene. That night, as I lay in bed, I whispered a quiet truth to myself. Forgiveness doesn't change the past, it changes you, and maybe that's enough. The next few days felt strange. Not bad, not perfect, just strange. Daniel stayed in the guest room, the same room that used to be Max's when he was little. Sometimes I would pass by the door and see him sitting quietly by the window, his hands folded, his eyes far away, as if he was watching memories he could never return to. In the mornings, Max worked outside, fixing the fence, repainting the porch. Lena helped in the kitchen, though she hardly spoke to Daniel. There was still tension, like invisible threads pulling us in different directions, but underneath it all, there was also a softness, a quiet attempt at healing. Music becomes warm, low piano, light strings. One afternoon, as I was folding laundry, I heard voices outside. Max was in the yard, hammering nails. Daniel stood beside him, holding a wooden plank. Their words drifted through the open window. Daniel, you always liked building things. Max, guess I got tired of breaking them. There was a pause, and then, for the first time in years, they both laughed. It wasn't loud or carefree, but it was real. I smiled to myself. Sometimes, forgiveness doesn't come with big moments. Sometimes, it's hidden inside small sounds, like laughter that almost didn't happen. Soft flute joins, reflective and calm. Later that evening, I found Lena sitting alone in the garden. The sky was pink, the kind of sunset that feels like it's trying to comfort you. I sat beside her quietly. Me, you've been quiet lately. Lena, because I don't know how to feel, Mom. He hurt us. But now he's trying, and part of me hates him for that. I took her hand. You don't have to forgive him today, sweetheart. Forgiveness isn't a gift we give to others, it's the way we free ourselves. She looked at me, tears in her eyes. How did you forgive him? I smiled softly, by realizing that holding on to pain was just another way of keeping him alive inside my heart. I wanted peace more than I wanted revenge. Lena looked down. Maybe I'll get there, someday. You will, I whispered. And when you do, you'll feel lighter. Soft emotional music continues, slow piano with gentle strings. That night, we all had dinner together. It was quiet, but not cold anymore. Daniel passed the bread to Lena. She hesitated for a second, then took it, without looking at him. It was such a small thing, but I noticed his hands were trembling. He looked like a man who had been holding his breath for years, and had finally exhaled. After dinner, Daniel came to the kitchen while I washed the dishes. Daniel, thank you for not sending me away. Me, you came back to your children, Daniel. That's what matters. Daniel, I don't deserve their kindness. Me, maybe not. But you can still earn their trust. He sighed. I want to, Renata. I really do. I nodded slowly, then start by being here, really being here. Music shifts softly, darker, slower notes. But peace never stays simple. The next morning, Lena received a letter from the lawyer handling Daniel's old debts. The words hit her like a storm. He still owes money, Mom. A lot of it. They're saying some of it was taken in our name. My heart stopped. Daniel walked in, sensing the tension. What's going on? Lena threw the papers on the table. You said you left to protect us, then why is my name on this? Daniel's face went pale. I didn't know they would. I thought it was closed years ago. You thought? Lena snapped. You thought, like you thought walking away was the answer? Max stepped between them. Lena, stop. He's trying to make it right. Trying doesn't fix 15 years of silence, Max. The house that had been quiet for days was now filled again with echoes of old anger. Music becomes tense, cello and piano in low notes. I raised my voice gently. Enough. Both of you. Lena turned to me, tears burning in her eyes. Mom, I can't do this again. I can't rebuild a house that keeps breaking every time he walks in. She ran to her room, slamming the door. The silence that followed was deafening. Daniel stood frozen. Maybe I should go, he said softly. I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw not just guilt, but deep exhaustion. No, I said, running away didn't save us before, staying might. Music softens, the tone becomes hopeful again. That night, Max went to talk to Lena. Daniel sat in the garden, staring at the stars, and I, sitting by the window, whispered to myself. Every time we face the past, it tests how much love we still have left. And maybe that's what forgiveness really is, not forgetting the hurt but learning how to love in spite of it. The morning after the fight, the house felt heavy again. No one spoke during breakfast. The air was thick, not just with silence, but with memories, with all the words we were too afraid to say out loud. Lena avoided Daniel's eyes. Max pretended to scroll through his phone, but his hands were shaking slightly. And me? I just stared at my coffee, watching the steam rise and disappear, like all the years we had lost. Music deepens, cello joins softly. After breakfast, Daniel asked to speak with me alone. We sat in the garden, under the old oak tree, the same tree where Max used to climb as a boy. Daniel, Renata, there are things you don't know, about why I left, and about that debt. His voice cracked, and for the first time since he returned, I saw fear in his eyes, not of me, but of the truth itself. Me, then tell me, Daniel. It's time. He took a deep breath. Daniel, when my business collapsed, I borrowed money, not from banks but from people I should never have trusted. Dangerous people. I frowned. What kind of people? Daniel, the kind that don't send letters, they send threats. I thought I could handle it. I thought I could fix it before you ever found out. Music becomes darker, tense violin undertone. He looked down, his voice barely a whisper. They came to the house one night when you were asleep. They said if I didn't pay, they'd come after you and Max. My stomach turned cold. Me. Oh my God, Daniel. I panicked. I took what was left of our savings, and I left to make them think I was gone for good. I disappeared to protect you. I was silent for a long time, and did it work? He shook his head slowly. No. It just replaced one kind of pain with another. They found me anyway. I lost everything. My job, my friends, my dignity, but at least, you were safe. Music softens, slow emotional piano returns. For years, I had painted Daniel as the villain of my story, the man who abandoned his family, but now, sitting across from him, I saw another version, a broken man who made a terrible choice for what he thought was love. Tears welled in my eyes. Why didn't you tell me, Daniel? Why did you let me hate you for so long? He smiled faintly, a sad, tired smile. Because you needed to hate me. It was easier for you to survive that way. I looked away, my heart torn between anger and pity. Later that afternoon, Lena came into the garden. Her eyes were red. She had been crying, but she stood tall. Lena, I heard everything. You could have told us the truth. Daniel, you could have trusted us. Daniel, would you have believed me then? She hesitated. I don't know. But at least we wouldn't have spent years feeling abandoned. Daniel nodded slowly. You're right. I failed you all. Music swells, gentle but emotional orchestral tone. The next few days changed something in all of us. Max became quieter, more reflective. Lena didn't avoid Daniel anymore, though her words were still sharp when she spoke, and I felt a strange calmness settling inside me, like finally the storm had a name, and I could stop being afraid of it. One evening, Max called us all into the living room. He stood near the fireplace, holding a folder. Max, I've been looking through Dad's old papers. There's still some debt, but not as bad as we thought. We can deal with it together. Lena frowned. Together? After everything? Max, yes. Because if we don't, then we're still living in the past. His words hit me like sunlight after a long night. I saw my son, not the angry man from before, but the boy who always tried to fix broken things. Daniel looked at him with tears in his eyes. Max, you don't have to. Max, I want to. Dad, I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for Mom, and for myself. Soft hopeful music begins, slow piano, rising violin. That night, as I lay in bed, I couldn't sleep. I thought about the years we lost, the pain we caused each other, and the strange way life brings back the very people we once swore we'd never forgive. I realized something profound. Forgiveness isn't a single act. It's a series of choices we make every day to stop bleeding from the same wound. In the middle of the night, I walked into the hallway. Daniel's door was half open. He was sitting by the window, staring at an old photograph of our wedding day. Me, can't sleep? Daniel, no. Every time I close my eyes, I see what I've done. I walked over and sat beside him. Maybe it's time to stop looking back and start living forward. He turned to me, tears glistening in the dim light. Daniel, do you think we'll ever be a family again? I smiled faintly. We already are, Daniel, just a different kind than before, one built from ashes instead of bricks. Music swells, emotional crescendo. Outside, the first light of dawn crept through the window. The sky was pale gold, a quiet promise that even the darkest night ends eventually, and for the first time in years I believed it. The morning sun poured through the curtains, painting the living room in soft gold. For the first time in years, the house didn't feel haunted. It felt alive. The air was quiet, but not the heavy silence of regret. This was the kind of silence that comes when hearts finally start to heal. I stood by the window, watching the wind move gently through the trees. The garden looked brighter, as if nature itself knew something had changed. Music shifts to gentle strings, warm, hopeful tone. That day, Daniel packed a small suitcase. He told me he had found work in another town, something simple, a fresh start. Daniel, I don't want to leave again, but I think I need to go, just for a while, to rebuild myself. I nodded. There was no anger in me anymore, no sharpness in my heart, only understanding. Me. Go, Daniel, but this time, you don't have to disappear, you have a home to return to. He smiled, that same tired but gentle smile I once fell in love with. Daniel, thank you, Renata, for not closing the door forever. Me, I never closed it, Daniel. I just waited for you to knock. Pause, emotional silence. He laughed softly, wiped his eyes, and hugged me. It was not the hug of lovers, but of two people who had finally laid their ghosts to rest. Music transitions, calm acoustic guitar joins soft piano. After he left, the house was quieter, but not empty. Lena started coming home earlier from work. She'd bring flowers sometimes, or cook dinner with me in the kitchen. We didn't talk much about the past anymore. We just lived. Max found a new job too, not far from town, close enough to visit every weekend. Sometimes, he'd sit in the garden listening to old songs on his headphones, smiling to himself. I think he finally found peace with the man he used to be angry at. Music softens, ambient wind and distant waves fade in. One afternoon, I went for a walk by the sea. The air smelled of salt and freedom. Every step on the sand felt lighter. I sat down on a rock and watched the horizon, that endless blue line between what was and what will be. For so many years I thought my story ended when Daniel left, but maybe that was just the middle. Maybe the ending was here, in this quiet moment where the world finally felt gentle again. Soft piano solo, emotional, peaceful. I closed my eyes and memories drifted through my mind. Max as a child, running through the garden. Lena, laughing so hard she couldn't breathe. Daniel, holding my hand under the stars. Not all memories hurt anymore. Some began to feel like soft light, warm, not burning. That night, I wrote something in my old diary. I hadn't written in it for years. The pages smelled of time and dust, but words came easily now. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is remembering without pain. It is choosing love even when the past didn't deserve it. I closed the diary and I smiled. Music grows slowly brighter, hopeful orchestral strings join in. A few weeks later, Lena announced she was moving closer to the coast, to open her own art studio. She invited me to join her. At first, I hesitated. This house held everything, our laughter, our tears, our ghosts, but then I realized, it had done its job. It had carried us through the worst, and now it was time to let it rest too. So I said yes. Sound of seagulls, light waves, soft breeze. The day we left, I stood by the front door one last time, the same door Daniel once walked out of, and later, knocked on again. I placed my hand on the doorknob, closed my eyes, and whispered, "Thank you for keeping us safe, even when we didn't feel safe inside." Then I turned the key, locked the house, and walked away without looking back. Music swells, full orchestra, uplifting finale tone. The new place by the sea was small but filled with light, white curtains, blue walls, and the sound of the ocean outside our window. Every morning, I made tea and sat on the balcony watching waves rise and fall, each one different, each one alive. And I thought, maybe that's what life really is, a constant rhythm of breaking and healing, of losing and finding, of ending and beginning again. Music slows, piano and violin duet, closing emotional moment. One evening, I received a letter. It was from Daniel. No drama, no apologies, just a few simple lines. I found peace, Renata. I hope you have too. I smiled, folded the letter, and placed it near a framed photo of our family, the four of us together, years ago, before everything changed. It no longer made me sad. It made me grateful, because the story of us wasn't about how we broke, it was about how we survived. Soft final piano notes, fading slowly. As the sun dipped into the horizon, I whispered to the sea. Sometimes life gives you second chances, not to fix the past, but to start again with open eyes. And in that moment, I knew my story wasn't over. It had simply found its peace. Sunrise, the END, the new beginning, sunrise.